Okay, hold on. Let me just check, make sure mic's on. Okay. Now, I suppose you're wondering why I have this screen open. And that would be because this is a self-promotion. This is my Wattpad. And this would be the fanfiction that I'm writing. So, stop it. No. So, if you like fanfiction, you want to read it, go ahead. Love to hear your opinion. I will eventually turn it into a what if? Like a what if Deku had a Persona series, that kind of a what if. That's probably going to be one of the longer what ifs I do, if not the longest, because it's based off a storyline that's over 100 hours. But yeah, so if you want me to do a what if version of it, let me know in the comments. If you'd rather just go and read it, then I probably won't do a what if about it. I might, though, if I have nothing. But if I run out of ideas and I don't know what to do, well, then I'll probably make a what if on this anyway. So, yeah. So if you're interested, go and read it. And on to the story. Okay. So the whole fight with Mirio, I'm gonna say, happened in the week before the provisional license exam. Because I knew I was forgetting something. And then, so I'm gonna try to get to the final battle with Overhaul in this episode. Which means that, more likely than not, there's gonna be a time skip. Because writer's block, there's gonna be a time skip from after that to when they're pro heroes. And Izuku has, gotten with Kyoka, and they've had kids and everything, and that might be the final episode, unless you all want like a date episode. Like it's literally just me talking about them going on dates. It's that would have happened throughout the time skip. Part 8 is probably just going to be a time skip, unless by the time I do it, I've come up with some fight scenes or whatever, some things that will happen in order to make the story longer, but that'll most likely just delay the ending by another episode. Which I have a small inkling of an idea, but I need to work on it a bit. So you probably won't be seeing another part for a week or so. Anyway. So yeah. So Aizawa comes into class the day after Axel kicked Mirio's ass. Like, I ain't even lying. Like, that was... Mirio just got himself handed. Just got his ass handed to him real quick. I don't know if you can hear the background noise, but it's my laptop. It doesn't like to be quiet. And it's old. So that's probably why it doesn't like being quiet. So yeah. So he continues with, he tells everyone that they're going to be doing because of all the events that have happened, they're going to be doing the licensing exam early. Yeah, like usually they'd wait for second or third year, but they're gonna allow them to do it first year because of all the villain attacks that they've already been through. And yeah, that's how it goes. So yeah. And so they're on the bus there, and Izuku's not stupid. I've already told you he's like Nezu's level IQ. So like when, you know, Mrs. Joke comes in and, you know, like does the whole thing that she does, because honestly I don't even remember that interaction that well. I just know she was there and she was trying to make Aizawa laugh but couldn't. And yeah, that's literally the only thing I remember from that interaction. But I do know she like probably like, I think I remember correctly, she like kind of hinted at it, the fact that she didn't tell them something, and it was going to be hard for them. So on their way there, Izuku kind of like puts it together pretty quickly. It's like, guys, I have a theory that this is going to be a free-for-all type of test, which means all these other schools are gonna team up on us, since they already know what our quirks are from the sports festival. Ow. I love doing that voice, guys. You can't stop me. And so the others like are like, where'd you get that idea from? And that's when, you know, everyone opens up and everyone's already surrounded all of Class 1A. Because come on. And so, you know, they're fighting. They're beating the shit out of people. You know how it is. It's just how it is. Izuku, you know, is helping other people in his class succeed. So all of Class 1A will succeed the first round, just like they did in canon. And Izuku's going around, and now he's about to like actually start before the whole situation with Uraraka happens. Uraraka is like falling. Izuku goes and catches her. She tries to, you know, hit his pad things that he has on his body, which he then punches her in the face. And he's causing her and then realizing immediately that it wasn't her, goes and punches her in the face. Because someone else was using their quirk. The only reason he saved them was because, well, they were falling, and he didn't care. And then his punch to her face immediately knocks her out, and she starts to look like Kami again. We all know who it is, though. We all know who it is. If you don't, I'm not going to spoil who it is, but for everybody else who actually does know, we all know who it is. And also, if you don't know, what are you doing here? Go rewatch the series. And if you haven't watched it yet, why are you here? Go watch the series. You know, support the official release. And Yeah, so Izuku easily gets all the points that he needs. Knocks out 3 people and, finishes it. But he only does it after, everyone else in Class 1A succeeds. And then we get to when Gang Orca showed up. How long have we been? Only 10 minutes? Dang. Then we get to Gang Orca. Or I should say all of the freaking things collapsing and then having people that need to be rescued. Because they're not fake people, they're real people that are just acting like injured people. And so... And Izuku is basically doing his job as a leader, telling everybody, like, what should be moved where and in what order so that the entire thing doesn't collapse. Telling people how to calm people down and make sure to tell them, like, things like, everything's gonna be alright, nothing bad's gonna happen, you're gonna be fine, kind of things. But not excessively repeating those same things over and over again. But to not excessively repeat those things over and over again, because, that just leads them to believe that it's not going to be fine. And to get all together, he's saving people himself too. It's not like he's just telling other people to do it. He's helping with it. But he's also at the same time ordering other people around so that they do their jobs properly. And all the, people that are faking needing to be rescued, those people are all, amazed by, his intelligence in knowing how to do everything. And then, he's, at one point he's bringing someone over to the newly secured, area, like, what's basically being considered their, impromptu hospital. Their recovery area, let's say. Let's call it a recovery area. It makes it easier. When Gang Orca and a bunch of other people dressed like orcas, for whatever reason that is, just come in and start attacking. And then the whole thing with Todoroki and the other guy from Shitetsu? Whatever, I don't care. From Shitetsu, are fighting against each other. Or not against each other, but not working well with each other. As he goes to both of them, as he turns his blasters to stun, as all of the guns come out of his back, and there's like 24 of them, so a little over 24 actually. As he yells at the top of his lungs, I'm not going to because there are other people in my house. But he yells, "Crimson Rain," as all of the guns just fire off at extreme speeds before, and Gang Orca is about to counter, but it isn't fast enough, as both him and all of the others are hit with these and are put in a state of, extreme dizziness. Yes, I can't come up with the right word off the top of my head, so I'm not going to, but they're really disoriented. That's the word I'm looking for. You know, stunned, I guess. So then he goes and knocks them all out to make sure that they don't get back up again. In which all the other judges are like, holy shit. Like, because Gang Orca is like one of those really high up there, you know, heroes. I think he's definitely one of the highest heroes that people say looks like a villain. Because let's be honest, he does. Like, have you seen his eyes? Like, holy shit. But yeah. So that's how that goes. And he's so he obviously passes. He passes without losing a single point to his name, as he does everything just as good as a pro would, if not better. Because, you know, some pro heroes aren't that good. Endeavor. Moving on. So, everyone passes except for Bakugo. And Todoroki barely passed. What was that? This man, of course you are. It's Persona 5. It's a combination of Persona 5 and My Hero Academia. It's literally just putting Izuku into Joker's position in Persona 5. So, of course it is. It's literally in the tags. It says Persona 5. It's literally in the tags. Anyway, went off there for a bit. I got off topic. So yeah. He goes. So they all passed except for Bakugo. Todoroki barely passed because the whole like fight thing. The guy with the wind manipulation from Shiketsu. He didn't pass because that attitude of his, like, he's just way too loud. Kami, she didn't pass because, well, we all know what happened there, because of the canon reasons. She didn't pass because of the canon reasons. Yeah. So then we go to the work studies, which was already explained to them before the provisional license exams, and it was also explained that they couldn't, do it if they didn't get their provisional license. But since all of them except for Bakugo, got their provisional license, everything was good. And this time, now we get to finally move on to the work studies. So, Izuku goes back to the Night Eye Agency, in which he's now working with Miria. And they're starting to get together for a raid. So Fatgum's agency, as well as the Ryukyu agency, are there working on this, case with the Night Eye agency. So, that means that Nijire, Ochako, and Sue are all there from the Ryukyu agency. And it also means that Tamakichi? I don't know. Sun Eater. I don't know how to pronounce his name, so I'm just gonna keep calling him Sun Eater. Sun Eater and Kirishima are there as well as a part of the Fat Gum agency. And so the whole meeting goes basically the same way. Some people piping up when they probably should just shut up. And Izuku explains all the little girl that he was able to take from Overhaul's custody a while ago, and all of the scars and other strange wounds that they found on her arms. And Night Eye goes to explain how he found out that they were using her for an experimental drug that could permanently remove someone's quirk. And everyone was surprised by this. Night Eye went on to explain how her quirk was called Rewind and could rewind time on anything. Meaning that, and everyone was even more shocked at this because, well, she could rewind time. There's nothing else that needs to be explained on that front. So yeah, that happened. And so now they're all, and a lot of them are getting pissed at what he was doing, but at the same time are relieved that he was able to get the girl before he was ever able to create a single one of these bullets, because Izuku got to her so early that he didn't have time to make a single one that could even remove someone's quirk for a small amount of time. So he definitely couldn't make the ones that could permanently remove quirks. And so we move on to the next thing. We're gonna move on to the next parts, except this time Izuku, we're just gonna skip through until the final fight with Overhaul. Everything's gonna go the same except, Muriel losing his quirk. That doesn't happen. But I'm gonna say they did try to do a bunch of other things to harm Eri, which Muriel then took all of the damage for Eri and was knocked unconscious because of it. Then Izuku was able to finally make his way in, and now we start the fight with Overhaul. Everything else went to canon, more or less, with Izuku using his abilities as a cyborg instead of one for all. And so the fight goes on. However, that feeling that he had during his fight with Muscular which I told you I'd come back to this. I told you in the final fight with Overhaul, I'd tie this together more fluently, I guess is the word I'm looking for. So, how long have I been recording? No, stop it. This one. 5 minutes? Dang, it's really been that long? Okay. So, yeah, that happens. So, he's going along with this. So, going along with that thing, he's getting memories of a different timeline, a different life, his canon life. You know, he's getting flashes of this fight, but it's going a lot differently. Life where he had one for all. As he's going and he's beating the shit out of Overhaul, like he's making sure, like, he's not touching him or anything. Like spewing fire out of his arms or any other part of his body before he can touch him, forcing Overhaul to back off before, he gets burnt. And, it works. I mean, it works because Overhaul's backing off. Overhaul's backing off, like, oh shit. And, yeah. So the fight continues on like that. It's, every time he does, like, one of his lasers at Overhaul just uses his quirk to turn it into nothingness. Don't ask me how that works. It's technically tangible. It's a laser. As soon as it touched his hand, his quirk was activated and it made it disappear. And eventually we get to the part where he takes his subordinates' bodies and, makes this giant-ass monster of himself as they both take the fight above the streets. Izuku still pounding the shit out of him. While green lightning and red veins seem to appear on his, metallic armored body. Yoink. Back to this one. As he gets another flash, a flash where he's done this fight with Eri tied to his back, as his eyes behind the mask seem to do this. And at this point, Phoenix is fighting for him. Phoenix is controlling his body for him as, the blue light, his eyes start glowing blue. Both of his eyes start glowing blue. And the lightning goes from a green Sorry. Excuse me, I just had a sneezing fit. Where was I? And the lightning went from the green color that it was at the start of the fight to a turquoise color, I think it is. We're going with turquoise. I think it's somewhere between teal and turquoise. But whatever. It's like a greenish blue mixture, which I'm pretty sure is what teal is. But I think it's more in between the two. At least in this, what if it is. And it has a red outline. The same red color that flows through, his robotic body outlines the lightning. As he launches Overhaul into the air, as he's doing this final fight with Overhaul. It's making it onto the news, and the fighting continues. It's on the news as we switch over to Momo. Oh, hold on. Rinko, and everybody else. Just gonna stay with this picture. She looks happy in this picture. Yeah, that picture. And so, Momo, Rinko, and Kyoka, as they are currently discussing the next clue that they found, that Kyoka found at his grave, which is a comic book. One of the comic books that was from the pre-Quirk era. And it is titled Cyborg. Yep. I know, the biggest hint of them all. It's called Cyborg. And they've read through it at this point, and they see that it's about this boy whose body got so badly damaged that in order to just survive, he had to go through many painful procedures to replace his body with machinery. And Momo's kind of like catching on. Rinko and Kyoka still doubting, but Momo remembers something. Momo remembers Kyoka telling her about how he really wanted this cool guitar that had the names of an entire pre-Quirk era band signed onto it. And that would be this guitar. The same guitar that they found in his room when they started, when they did the whole room inspection to see who had the best room. Momo remembers seeing this very guitar, the very same one that Kyoka described in detail, that had the names of all Fall Out Boy members. He's also said that his Quirk's name was Cyborg, and that most of his body was turned into a cyborg. Which could have been a lie to cover up the fact that he had to get his body replaced, because it was so badly damaged. Because she also remembers Kyoka telling her how she was kidnapped, and going back and watching the news footage and seeing how his arms were, cut up pretty badly, and how after that they probably cut him up even worse, to the point where he needed to replace his body parts with cybernetic enhancements in order to survive. So she's connecting this all together, and she's telling the others this, and they're trying to both of them are trying to push it off. Rinko, because she has a crush on Senta, and but doesn't want to step on Kyoka's toes, because she knows that she loves Izuku, and she's hoping that Senta and Izuku aren't the same person. Because, I mean, if it was, that'd be weird. Two girls dating one guy, come on. That's weird, guys. I mean, it's a thing that happens sometimes, and it's okay, whatever, it's a thing that happens, so what? But it doesn't mean it's not weird. And it's not going to be happening in this one, in this What If either, so yeah. So, Momo just put this all together. And, you know, Rinko's trying to deny it because she wants to be with Senta. So she's hoping that Izuku and Senta aren't the same person. And Kyoka's trying to put it off because that would mean that he was forced to go through many painful procedures just to, you know, survive. Momo also goes on to say that because when Kyoka counters, saying, well, it can't be possible because when we saw him in the video, you know, he had skin, you know, like he had, you know, he didn't have any of the machine parts, he was just skin, you know? And Momo immediately countered back saying, well, he also said that he could, well, Senta also said he could have had technology, that Izuku could have had technology that allowed him to disguise himself, which Senta could have easily used to, you know, make his body look like it was human again, had skin and everything, which immediately saddened Kyoka as she didn't have a way to counter that statement. And that's when they hear a scream from downstairs. A scream that shouts, "What?" Someone's coming. I know it. And yeah. So that happens. I gotta be quieter now. And so they move on. So they all three of them run downstairs, and they see Axel fighting with this giant mutated monster thing that is Overhaul, as he is, you know, losing? No, not losing. Distracted, it seems. He's not moving as smoothly. He's moving more robotically, one might say. While the movements are still smooth, they're not as smooth as they normally are, like he's distracted. And Phoenix then, and he's going through all this stuff. They see all of this weird greenish blue lightning, you know, coming off of him. As that's not normal. And they're like, that's not normal. So basically everyone that's in their class is there, except for Bakugo, who's, you know, doing the, you know, whole trying to still get his, you know, provisionals license thing. He's doing the remedial courses for that. And moves on to that whole, and so he's the only one that's not there, other than the obvious three others that are on the scene. As the fight continues onward, as Ryukyu is too busy fighting someone else, Night Eye is unconscious, not dead, unconscious, not dying either, just unconscious. As he continued to fight on, but what he didn't notice was, but as he was distracted by all these memories, Phoenix was trying to do it, as Phoenix was trying to work for, you know, move his body for him, Phoenix wasn't used to having to control his body for him, and it stalled a bit. long enough for Overhaul to get his hands on Izuku's mask. Long enough. But not long enough for... And Phoenix, realizing that if she doesn't do something, he's gonna die, the mask detaches itself and throws itself forward into his hand. Phoenix saying, Axel, get a hold of yourself. As he snaps back to reality, blood dripping down from his ears, as his face is now revealed to the world, and everyone is shocked. Everyone the world over is shocked, because this is Izuku Midoriya, the same person that released that music video to all those news outlets, that then reported that Izuku Midoriya, the boy that was kidnapped and supposedly dead 3 years ago, is alive and is a hero and is in the hero course in UA. This immediately shook off any doubts Kyoka and Rinko had. Rinko was saddened because turned out they were the same person the entire time. Everyone in Class 1A is shocked because, well, this person that had like a literal angelic voice is on that music video that they heard, that they watched the other day, like however long ago that was, like I think I said like a week or something ago, but that was before the whole incident, so it was probably like closer to 2 or 3 weeks ago. So, gosh, I ain't bothering with time. But yeah, oh gosh, they did some shit, man. So, but they were fucking surprised as hell, and we're definitely going to ask him to sing for them again. As he continued, Kyoka, with tears streaming down her face. Which one is it? Is it this one? Like this one. Looking at the TV displaying the fight as Izuku snaps back to his senses, gritting his teeth from the pain in his head, and from living 2 lives at once, having this power that he shouldn't have, this power that seemingly stays with him, that came back to him from this other life that he lived. He's seeing him fighting with Eri, using One for All to beat the living shit out of Overhaul. He's living that and this moment at the same exact time. And it's causing immense pain in his head. It's pulsating, and it hurts, and it's causing him to bleed out of his ears. And Kyoka notices this, but not only that, there's slight trails of blood coming out of the corners of his eyes as well. Not tears, just from the sheer pain going on inside of his head from living in 2 places, 2 lives at the same time. Slight amounts of blood just coming down the corner of his eye, coming out of the corner of his eyes and trailing down his face, almost looking like tears of blood. As he then lands a final punch on to Overhaul while the rocket boosters in his elbow go out to make the punch even faster and even harder, knocking him unconscious as soon as it made contact with his face. His suit, his body was isn't even scratched by it, but he's now clenching his fists and gritting his teeth as the pain starts to finally subside, but there's still what's left of the blood dripping out of his eyes and his ears, which doesn't go unnoticed by anyone watching this unfold, as he falls onto his back and is taken away by paramedics, specifically the paramedics that work for his father. Anyway, guys, that's where we're going to end it today. This was part 7 of What If Deku was a cyborg, and I'm pretty sure I forgot to say that at the beginning. Anyway, this was Blazing What Ifs. Blazing away.